afternoon, everyone, and welcome. The playbook that still works in a very different market. This is not a nostalgia piece, it's a breakdown of what actually drove growth from day one to exit and how those same principles apply in today's environment. So everyone, I'd like you to please welcome Dean Salakas, Omni-Channel Retail Operations Performance Partner at Retail Community Proprietary Limited.
Thanks, guys. That was an awesome reception, given there's like 5 of you. I feel like that'd be a bit weird standing up on stage, so I might come over here. Thanks for showing up. Massive crowd, love it. So I'll talk a little bit about my story, the journey that I went along, and some critical success factors that led me to where I am today, and hopefully some things you can take away. Since we've got a massive audience, I will allow you guys to ask questions as we go. If you've got a question, please just put your hand up. We'll make it interactive. If you've got a question, hit me up as we go, and we'll just, we'll have a chat since there's not too many. So a little bit about me. I've had 4 exits, different businesses, 2 of them retail, 2 of them not. I've won 40 plus industry awards and all sorts of different stuff, from online retailer of the year to retailer of the year, and all sorts of different industry awards. I'm an innovator in retail, so we'll go through a little bit of that and what I've done in retail over the years. Industry leadership, as the title mentioned, I won the ORIAS award last year, which is the Industry Recognition Award, arguably, I guess, the highest individual award in retail. So I'll talk a little bit more about how that journey came about. I featured in the media, I think 100's probably underdoing it, but a lot. At one stage, I was featuring in the media twice a week, 3 times a week along my journey, and we'll talk about why that is. And I founded the retail community here at Retail Fest last year. If you don't know the story, I started a WhatsApp chat with Jethro Marks, who's walking around the floor, and we're just trying to work out where we're going to go drinking last year when we're coming up here. And it's quite wild. Last night we had a party with 600 people, so I'll talk to a little bit of that as we go. So the party people started with my mum, who was a clown. That was the business that I exited 18 months ago. And my mum really was a pioneer in retail. She had the idea in, am I getting feedback from the speakers? She had the idea in 1998 to build a website and go online, and had this thought that people all around Australia could have access to our products and range. Working mums could go at night and shop and all that kind of stuff. And that's some of the theory on why we launched online. Still applies today on why you should have multi-channel strategy. And so she decided to give it to me, a high school kid, to figure it out. I worked with a couple of uni students to build a website. So they were IT students. There was no e-commerce back then or any platforms or anything. It was IT. And so we built our first website. We launched with Click and Collect and became the first retailer in Australia to offer Click and Collect. It's quite funny. People always ask me how I figured that out and became so innovative so early. And really, it was just as simple as we had a retail store, and Click and Collect just kind of made sense. It was like our first payment option. It was our first delivery option. It's like, let's drive people in store so they can pick up. And we may do some delivery. It wasn't the other way around for us. So quite interesting that's for us, and we became the first ones to do it. So we grew the business, and I'll talk a little bit about how we did that. So the first thing I learned, so in 2007, my brother and I took over, and that's a long story. We bought the business off our parents. My mum wanted to exit, and she had a buyer, and we said, let's take it over. I was working at Woolworths at the time as a business analyst, and I was succession planned into executive leadership there. And I just couldn't resist the opportunity to take on a business, because I thought there was a massive gap in the market that my parents just didn't have the energy to take it where we thought it could go. So my brother and I bought the business off my parents, and we learned pretty quickly this, which was be first, be smarter, or cheat. And at that time, they were the 3 options to win online. So you could be first, and as a small business, we were agile, we were small, we could pioneer stuff, try stuff. At that time, e-commerce was evolving, so we were doing a lot of testing. Be smarter was not really possible. I mean, we're up against Big W, Kmart in the party space. These guys had armies of smart people, smarter than us, I would think, get paid a lot of money, and so being smarter would be pretty hard. Or we could cheat, and a lot of people were cheating back then, because you could do black hat SEO if for the guys that have been around long enough. There were ways to hack, and we chose the first. And it didn't, in some cases it paid off, in some cases it didn't. I mean, back then Black Hat did work. But in the long run, being first paid off for us because, as I'll talk about, we became the first advertiser on Google in Australia, and there was a big arbitrage there. We became Bing's first advertiser. We pioneered a bunch of stuff, which I'll talk through in my talk. And a lot of that became pivotal to how we succeeded in retail. So I talk a little about, I've done lot of talks before, and I've done talks just specifically on this topic about being an early adopter or a late adapter. And one thing I learned, one thing that was critical about our journey is we were testing relentlessly. I can't emphasize that enough, that we just tried everything. And some things worked and some things didn't. And looking at the screen there, so we launched online early, we re-platformed a lot of times. We had a website before most people had it, so that was a win. You know, I mean, back then, people would have thought we were crazy to spend 10 grand building a website when you could spend more money on Yellow Pages and have a bigger ad. So we did that. We were Google's first advertiser, like I mentioned. So being first on Google, I was doing a university project trying to figure out how we expand the business, and Google just happened to be going well in the US, and so I reached out to them and said I'd love to advertise in Australia, and I became their first advertiser. And while that sounds fun, I guess the key learning was that I was paying 1 cent a click from the beginning, like, which is just crazy today. And as a result of that, and every time Google had a beta, I was like, how can I get on all the betas? Every time they launched something, I was testing it and trialing it. So when product ads came out, I was pioneering product ads. And again, I was back to paying 1 cent a click as regular ads were going up in price. When they had extensions that they added, like, you know, I would have half a page ads when everyone had little small ads, and I was paying the same as them. So I just kept pioneering, and it just kept becoming an arbitrage. And I guess another example of that is Bing up there. So Google was going so well, so I contacted Bing and said, how do we get on board? And they were like, you can't, we're not in Australia yet. I'm like, surely there's a way. And they're like, no. And so left that for a little bit, and then 3 months later I had this idea, and I called them up and I said, look, can we advertise in the US? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, can we geo-target Australia? You know, because that's what you can do on these platforms. I noticed you're in a couple of other countries. And they're like, yeah, you could do that actually. So they put me on to Singapore, and we worked out of that office, and we were basically advertising in Australia again before anyone was doing it at all. And we became their first advertiser. And again, we're back to paying 1 cent a click. So it was just amazing. So being early paid off big time. I wouldn't say we were the first in Australia, but we launched same-day delivery express before most people did. Again, each of those had a kick for us because our competitors weren't moving that fast. We kept pioneering and innovating, and every time we added something, we just kept moving further ahead than our competitors who were moving slower. I mean, we were up against Spotlight, Kmart, Big W, and we were just moving so much faster. So coming back to that first point about being agile, that was our source of competitive advantage. We moved faster than everyone else. I put sanitizer on there, pretty funny. We'll talk about that in a minute when I get to COVID. Failures. We didn't get it always right. eBay, we were late to the party to eBay, and it paid, you know, it hurt because we launched on eBay, and all our competitors had thousands of reviews, and we had to compete on price, and so we were copying margin hits. So we failed with eBay. We ended up later down the line coming back with eBay and working pretty strongly, and it became a critical success factor for us again. But early on, we failed. We were late, and that was an example. I didn't think Instagram or TikTok were going to be anything important, so again, I left it. And unlike Facebook over there, which we're actually on Facebook's global accelerator program, in which we're able to build an audience really quickly, and it was quite a lucrative channel for us, an organic lucrative channel. Whereas Instagram and TikTok, we thought, it's not going to really take off, and then it did, and we were left behind, and trying to build an audience down the track and figure it out was really difficult. So we got it right sometimes, and we got it right not so many. When I would say better to be a late adapter is when there is a high barrier to change. A lot of these you could dip your toe in, which is why I highly encourage testing at scale, because advertising platforms, Meta, Facebook, TikTok, live shopping when it comes out, dipping your toe in is a low barrier to testing. So I would highly recommend testing at scale and just giving things a go and trying to find a way to do things. I had this conversation with someone about live shopping the other day. And they said, I don't know if it's going to be a thing or not. I'm like, look, just stick someone there, spend a few $1,000s and see if you can make it work. I think your category might work for this. And just test it, you're spending more time figuring out if you can actually execute this than just having a go at it. So, I'd highly recommend dipping your toe in. Where it doesn't work so much is when there's a high barrier. So a good example of that was re-platforming, and we got lucky with this, I would say. We were late to move to new platforms, but it became, again, something that worked really well for us. By being late to move to Magento, when everyone else had gone in and just, it was a disaster for a lot of people. By the time we came in, it was a mature platform. So when it comes to things like platform and where there's a high barrier to change, I would say it's a better time to be a late adapter. Growth formula was a critical success factor for us. About 15 years ago, I did a talk and I spoke about this at this conference. And it was a foreign concept back then. And I heard the guys on the previous panel actually talking about cost to serve, they said, and I'm not sure if everyone understood what they meant. This formula is what was a critical element for us, and I still use this today, and I know a lot of businesses do use this formula. What I do there is I just explain it as an example. Like for the party people, our average order was, say, $100, and we knew that our cost of goods was, say, $40, so we had $60 left. And our variable costs that contributed to our costs were, say, $35. So we're left with $15 left after all of that. Now, this is variable costs only. This is not fixed costs, and this is not marketing costs as well. We deliberately, even though they're variable costs, we deliberately exclude marketing. And the reason for that is marketing is what's going to grow your business. That's a springboard. So we don't measure marketing in that formula, because if you've got $15 left to spend, that's how much you've got to spend on marketing, that 15. If you spend 10, for every 10 you spend, you're going to make 5, and that's going to contribute towards your fixed costs and eventually into profit. So by knowing that formula and breaking it down by channel, even by product, you can start high level and then start getting more granular later. I would highly recommend that as a roadmap. By applying this formula, you've got a growth formula. And by doing that, you can scale things. So when things come along like, should I go on marketplaces? Well, if the cost to go on that marketplace is 10%, yeah, take my money now. If it's 20%, hell no, we don't want that. We don't want those sales. So knowing your formula means you know how hard to drive with your marketing. When it comes to Google, the ads that are working with that formula, you double down on them. The ads that aren't, you have to refine them or cut them. So just knowing that means you can drive your business performance. And that was a critical success early on. When I took over the business in 2007, we were doing a bit of Google advertising because I was running it, but my parents were like, no, I don't want you to spend so much money. There was budgets there. When we took over, one of the things we did, which put us on triple-digit growth, was we just took off all the budgets because we had a formula. And if it hit the formula, we do as much of it as we can. And if it didn't hit the formula, we don't. And that's how it worked. And then we went on a rocket ship from there. We just took all the budgets off and volume tripled overnight. And that was just something. And then bigger problems in terms of handling the growth. But we won't go there around ops and how to scale in ops. What problem do you solve? I do a lot of advisory now, and this is the one question I ask every single founder straight away. And for the party people, it was our critical success factor because we understood what problem we solved for the customer better than our competitors. People say they're customer focused, and I would argue 80-90% of leaders say they're customer focused, and I would say 80-90% of leaders are not as customer focused as they should be. Because when I ask them this question, they 8 out of 10 times don't know the answer or haven't got it well defined. And by that I mean, for the party people, the problem we solve for the customer is we help people have amazing parties. We help them create moments. That was the problem we solved. Our competitors would say we sell party supplies. And everyone in our industry would say we sell party supplies. And that was the difference. And by that I mean we offered services because that helped the customer. Even if it didn't make us a profit, it was like that helps our customers solve their problem. We had decorating services. These things were very difficult to scale, very difficult to manage. But they were the things that made the difference between us and our competitors, and it was why people came to us. So our bricks and mortar stores were the most profitable channel for us. And we had big stores. We had our smallest store was 1,000 square meters. Our biggest store was 1,800 square meters. And we drove massive volume through those stores to pay for stores of that footprint. And again, that's the reason, is because we understood what problems we solved for the customer. This is a photo of the store. Make noise. Another critical success factor for the party people, and for those in the room that know me, know I like to make a lot of noise when I do things. And we did that with the party people. I was on Shark Tank channel, season 1, and I was on, obviously, national TV, and it was great for the business. The party people was on TV many, many times in many different things, and we offered it for free. I'd be calling up Celebrity Apprentice and saying, hey, we'll do the balloons for your shows if you give us a mention or you give us some exposure. And that was only a small component, but on our website, when you launched on our website, which is not there anymore, that's a whole nother story because the guys that bought it off me butchered it. But the website would say, we're famous. And it's got like Celebrity Apprentice, Master Chef, all these celebrities we work with. Like, we just made it look like we were the biggest thing in the world. And we were big in party and we were the biggest, but we made sure we told everyone about it. And it was part of what we did. We just made so much noise. I'll talk about this project. I can see Hawk sitting in the background here from Starship, but we did a project with Hawk. I'll show you the video. This is an augmented reality mirror we did. We did this about 2-3 years ago, I think it was. So we did this project.
Salakas, I'm the chief party dude at the Party People. We've got a cool concept here for you to try on costumes virtually with augmented reality. Come and check it out. I'll give you a bit of a run through how it works. Touch the star, select men, follow the silhouette. So let's do that. I've done that. And change costumes just by waving my hand. Superman, Minion, favorite, over there on that part. Select the size. Scan the QR code to purchase. Scan there. There we go. It's added the item to my cart for me. And now I just need to check out. So I enter my shipping address, continue the shipping, select my delivery option, and then I enter my payment details. We'll check out, and then Uber will deliver it to you within 2 hours if you select Uber delivery. If you select click and collect, you can go and pick it up from the store. It'll be ready for you when you get there. Heaps easy, heaps fun. Come down and check it out. It's really awesome.
So that was a little social video we did on the augmented reality we did with Hawk. And Hawk from Starship had helped us with that project. So did Uber. So did Lend-Lease. We got a bunch of people to sponsor us to do that project. But the point, that's not the point. The point was we did that project and it was a massive marketing exercise for us as well. Not only did it make sales, but it was a huge PR campaign for us, and it just drove heaps of traffic into the store. We made about 30 sales a day from that mirror. It was a fully paid for project by those supporters of that project. And again, we just made heaps of noise when we're in the Party People. So I would say that's one thing, again, I see with businesses. There's a lot of businesses are great operators. They run great businesses, but they don't make enough noise. Nobody knows about them. So I would say, make as much noise as you can. Tell people about your business. Shout it from the rooftops. Make sure people know who you are. And the guys that have been following me more recently have seen what we've done with the retail community. I mean, it's just another example of how I love to make noise. We're in the media the last couple of weeks on what we've built there. Again, that's just me doing what I did at the Party People, making heaps of noise about it. We had that party last night. Again, just making heaps of noise about what you're doing brings people on the journey. With great change comes great opportunity. COVID hit us in, like everyone, and we were down 9. You can imagine a party business where we're all about people gathering and you couldn't gather anymore. We were down 92%, and to be frank, we were fucked. I just have to drop the F-bomb there. I mean, we're gone. We look like the house is gone. We're going to be homeless. What's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen from here. You could just see the end. And asked the dumbest question ever, which was actually a really interesting question. I asked the question to my brother. I said, what the hell are the 8% buying because you can't have a party? Like, what's going on there? And like, I don't know. So we're sitting there going, shit, is that a stupid question or is it a good question? I don't know. So we're like, let's just get out on the floor and see what people... So we spoke to every single customer that came in the door and said, what are you buying this for? What are you doing? Turned out people were coming into our store to buy stuff to do in lockdown. So they were buying little games, they were buying dress-ups. And this comes back to what I showed you on the earlier slide around sanitizer. We went, there's something here around helping people through lockdown. How can we do this? So within about a day or two, we re-engineered our whole homepage and called it Coronavirus Survival. We used existing categories that we were in and heroed them. So we had baking. We made that a hero category. We had dress up. We said do stuff in, dress up in lockdown. We had, we just were fortunate enough to get supply of sanitizer before everybody did. I just happened to have a friend in that space, and I said, get us some sanitizer. Can you just give me it? I don't care what I have to pay. So we had sanitizer, masks, and all that, and we heroed that. Within 2-3 weeks, we were beating prior year, and we went through COVID, actually beating the previous year from that pivot, which saved us and actually set us on a path where I am today, which is an exit. Because we came out of COVID with a lot of money, and when our competitors were essentially potentially going into liquidation or failing. So that critical shift for us set us on a trajectory that put us to where I am today. if you do what everyone else does, you're going to get the same results as everyone else. I put this one in there as a new slide. I've done this talk a few times, but I threw this one in because people often say to me, "Oh, you kind of seem like you zig when others zag. How does that work?" I get asked this question a lot, so I just threw this one in there, and I'm not sure how to resonate with you guys, but I get asked it a lot, and I just think, when I'm thinking of how we solve a problem or what we're doing, I just think about that. I don't think about what people do. So I just forget, like, how are people solving it? It doesn't even enter my sort of thought space. It's just, how do I think we can solve this differently? So this is an example. So my exit, when I exited 18 months ago. So the story there is we bought a business just coming out of COVID. We acquired a business, and then 18 months later, we got approached and someone wanted to buy that business off us, which we sold it. We sold it for, I'll say it, we sold it for 4 times what we paid for it. So we were then in an even stronger position. We thought, let's go and open up 4 more stores and keep growing the company. So we took that money and we strategized, we had a rollout strategy, and then that company approached us and said, we want to buy the rest of the business. And at that point, we were like, okay, this is cool. My brother wanted to take the offer. I didn't. That's a whole other story. And I said, well, why don't we go public? I've got a network, and let's see if we can create some competitive tension here. Spoke to a few people, like, spoke to a few brokers and stuff, and they're like, oh, you don't go public. You know, you might lose staff, suppliers might leave you, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going, but we're exiting, so if a few staff leave, well then, so what? You know, and we just have to work harder for the next 3 months. But surely the benefit of creating competitive tension far outweighs the cost of a few staff leaving and me having to work for a few months harder. And surely suppliers aren't going to leave. And if they do, why wouldn't they want to do business with the next owner? So yeah, they might make our life difficult, but I'm sure we'll just figure it out. So we took a gamble. I posted this on LinkedIn and told people that we were looking for buyers. I didn't want to exit, so I was open to someone coming in and investing and taking out my brother, and I stay in the business because the guys that offered us wanted me out. And so I put this up. I had 30 leads from this LinkedIn post. The broker got me not a single lead. This got me 30 leads. It ended up in 3 people those 30 guys, about 10 of them entered due diligence and 3 entered in a bidding war. And we ended up selling it, got about a 40% premium on what that previous offer was that my brother was already happy with. So it just comes back to just thinking through problems and solving them the way you think they need to be solved and what's right for you. Because I think for every business, what's right for you can be different to someone else. So what's next for me? So who is in the retail community? Well, just about everyone, okay. Who here knows the story of how it started? I mentioned earlier about Drinks Chat. Not everyone, okay. So the community started at this conference 12 months ago. Jethro and I see him standing over here. We started a group. I'm at the airport, and I texted Jethro. I said, "Are you coming to Retail Fest?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm coming." I said, when are you getting there? He's like, "I'm coming tomorrow night." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, we should catch up." And he's like, "Yeah, let's start a WhatsApp chat." And he's like, "Oh, we'll invite some cool people and we'll catch up." So I invited everybody. So I just went through my list and added all these people. And I got off the plane an hour later, and there was 50 people in this group. And there was a whole bunch of random conversation going on. And then by the end of the day, there was 100. By the end of the week, there was 300. And we got back to Sydney, and I called him up and said, "Look, I think we can do something with this." We caught up for coffee, came up with a strategy, and here we are today. We're probably not far off 3,000 members. And we held that party last night, which I think we had 600 or 700 people at. And we've been on a journey. That's all the different groups in the chat. And that's what I'm up to now. So I'm running the community, spending a whole lot of time on it, and looking at what we can do with it. So there's a lot of fun things coming. We're about to launch a website. I won't let the cat out of the bag. There's a whole bunch of cool features that I think just adds heaps of value that I wish I had as a retailer that I've put into that. So looking forward to sharing with you guys with that. You need to be in the chat to get the announcements on what's happening there. That's the QR code to join. So I've slotted this one in as well about engineering luck. Just to sum it up, because I've been given the 5-minute warming, and that was probably 5 minutes ago. So just that, grow by formula, as I mentioned at the beginning. Be clear on what problem you solve. I think that's critical. Make noise. Change is an opportunity. Never waste a good crisis is another thing I say. Don't do what everyone else does. Do it your way. Thanks very much. Thanks for turning up. Cheers. Anyone got any questions? No? Making my life easy? No one came to my talk yesterday, obviously? Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, you do? Shit.
Yeah, I come from a family background in business as well. Talk a bit about how your mum and this innovation on the online, how that conversation started again, and do you think your parents at that point, or your mum was quite innovative and was open to these things?
She had her own ideas, I guess I would say, which is where she decided to put a website, and so she was. When we took over, I would say, no, there was probably a lot of friction there around my brother and I going, I want to do this, and they're like, no, I don't think that'll work. And you've got this dynamic where she's my mum, but we own the company now, so we're the boss, but she's the boss at home, so there was this difficult family dynamic. I would say it was almost like a change management piece where we just like, we're going to do it our way, just let us go. And we kind of did a few things. And then, like I said, that triple digit growth from the day we took over, literally like within 2 days, we're doing triple digit. I think they could start to see, hey, these guys are getting some runs on the board here. They've got some good ideas. Let's just see where this goes. And so I think we gained their trust, and we built confidence by executing, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Cool. Thanks.
No worries. Cheers. Yeah, another question back there? Oh, hang on. I can't hear back there. The last night the music was so loud, I definitely can't hear that far.
You had a QR code.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just to look at the different groups available. Oh, awesome. That's all.
That's all right, I'll leave it there. Anybody else? Another one over there?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You obviously came to my talk on day one. Appreciate it.
I had a question about buying and selling.
Yep.
What's the process you go through when you're looking to buy a business? Because you said you purchased a business.
We did. Good question. Along the journey, because we were looking to grow, I literally approached every single competitor in the market and said, I'm interested in buying you. And this is like years and years and years ago. And every time there was somebody I come across, I'd just say, hey, you ever interested? Come and talk to me. Like planted a whole bunch of seeds. And then the one we acquired, essentially they were like, look, we want to get out. It's hard work. Lifestyle changes. Wife's not happy. Want to get out. And we're like, yeah, okay, let's have a conversation. That's how it kind of came about. So they approached us because I planted a seed like 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
And that came about multiple times, actually. That was a major acquisition. We made... I'd say over the years, we probably made 10 small acquisitions where we bought kind of small components of businesses just because founders exited. But all from planting the seed.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's right. Cheers. Anything else? All good? If anyone does have a question, come and find me, and happy to chat. Or put it in the chat group, and plenty of people will answer it. Cheers, guys. Thanks.